Hey everyone, and welcome back to Next Door, your favorite place for everything Heartland, where we dive deep into the episodes, explore emotional moments, and unpack the storylines that make this show so unforgettable. And today's episode is one that every Heartland fan has dreamed about, the return of Tai Bordon. Yes, you heard that right. Season 19, Episode 1 has given us the emotional, shocking, and heartwarming moment we never thought would happen. Tai Bordon is alive, and he's come home. Welcome back, Heartland fans. Nobody anticipated it. Years marked by sorrow, unresolved questions, and the enduring sting of loss set the stage for a seismic shift. Tai Bordon, the cherished figure fans believed was lost forever, might be poised for a return. Heartland Season 19 promises a narrative twist that could redefine the series. What truly became of Tai Bordon? Could he have survived? If so, what compelled him to remain hidden for such an extended period? The revelations will shake the foundations of Heartland, forcing Amy, Jack, and the entire Bartlett-Fleming family to reevaluate everything they once held as true. Heartland Season 19 promises a narrative twist that could redefine the series. What truly became of Tai Bordon? Could he have survived? If so, for years, the fan base grappled with accepting Tai's apparent demise. His absence carved a void in Amy's life, compelling her to navigate the complexities of single motherhood, while clinging to the cherished memories of their profound connection. But just as Amy begins to glimpse a semblance of peace, unsettling whispers emerge, suggesting the impossible. Tai might not have perished. Initially, the idea seems preposterous. The evidence appeared conclusive. Or did it? A peculiar object arrives at Heartland, something seemingly insignificant, yet so uniquely tied to Tai that it brings Amy to a halt. An old horseshoe nail, bent in a distinct way only Tai used to do, found tucked inside Lindy's riding boot. Amy tries to rationalize it, perhaps a misplaced item from long ago, but an inescapable discomfort lingers. She shares her unease with Jack, whose seasoned intuition signals that something is amiss. He's witnessed enough in his lifetime to trust his gut. When things feel wrong, they usually are. Concurrently, inexplicable events unfold around the ranch. A shadowy figure is glimpsed near the tree line, disappearing before it can be identified. Spartan, a horse Amy trained alongside Tai, exhibits agitation as if sensing a familiar presence. Could it truly be Tai, or just the tricks of a mind yearning for the past? Amy isn't alone in her restlessness. Georgie, now more mature and resourceful, begins her own investigation. Utilizing her network, she uncovers startling discrepancies, not in medical records but in old financial documents linked to Tai's veterinary work. Transactions were mysteriously voided, expenditures logged to accounts that seemingly vanished. Someone took considerable measures to ensure Tai's departure remained unquestioned, but the motive remains elusive. As Amy wrestles with this potential, reality, a daunting question surfaces. If Tai is alive, why hasn't he returned? Why remain hidden? The answer could harbor more peril than she imagines. If someone orchestrated Tai's disappearance, they might stop at nothing to keep the secret buried. A storm is brewing, and its arrival threatens to alter Heartland irrevocably. The weight of the unknown presses down on Amy. She cannot shake the persistent feeling that the narrative of Tai's end is flawed. The horseshoe nail, the fleeting sightings, Spartan's unusual behavior. It all feels too tangible to be mere coincidence. Yet if Tai survived, why the prolonged absence? Why allow her to endure such profound grief? The questions are relentless, but Amy holds on to one certainty. She needs the truth. Jack, embodying his role as the family anchor, advises caution. He understands the perilous nature of hope, how it can lure a person down treacherous paths. What if this is a malicious prank designed to reopen old wounds? He asks. Amy yearns to dismiss his concerns, but acknowledges the validity of his point. Still, a resilient part of her refuses to abandon the possibility. Meanwhile, Georgie delves further into the financial anomalies. The voided transactions weren't simple errors. They were deliberately obscured. Someone actively erased Tai's recent professional footprint. With assistance from Caleb, she follows a faint trail, a name associated with one of the last disputed accounts. It leads to someone who worked briefly at a supply company Tai dealt with just before his accident. As Georgie pursues the lead, Amy's world grows increasingly eerie. Late one evening, a sound outside the main house jars her awake, a faint scraping, noise near the porch. At first, she dismisses it as wind or wildlife, but then she smells it, the distinct scent of a specific motor oil Tai always favored. Her heart hammers in her chest. She grabs a heavy flashlight, flicks it on, and cautiously opens the door, scanning the moonlit yard. "Hello?" she calls, her voice trembling slightly. No reply, just the whisper of the wind through the pines. And then, the crunch of gravel, footsteps retreating rapidly, as if someone had just been there. Moments later, Lou, ever pragmatic, suggests Amy is overtired. "You've been under immense strain," she reasons. "Perhaps it's time to let the past rest." But Amy can't. She knows what she smelled. And the next morning, her conviction strengthens. One of Tai's old, worn leather work gloves is found lying near the spot where she heard the noise. Across the province, Georgie hits a wall. The supply company contact proves elusive. Records show he quit abruptly shortly after Tai's accident. His address leads nowhere. Another dead end. The deeper they probe, the more complex the puzzle becomes. What transpired on that fateful day? Was Tai targeted? If so, who stood to gain and why? The truth remains tantalizingly close yet obscured. 1. Fact emerges starkly. Someone is actively working to prevent its discovery. The atmosphere at Heartland grows tense, thick with unspoken anxieties. Amy tries to maintain normalcy, caring for the horses, spending time with Lindy, but the unnerving sensation of being watched persists. She senses it in the quiet moments, in the barn, during rides across the pastures, even within the supposed safety of the house. Every creak of the floor, every rustle of leaves, it all feels like a presence lurking just out of sight. Jack observes her restlessness. He remains outwardly stoic, but his vigilance sharpens. He keeps his old ranch rifle closer now. His gaze sweeps the property lines, more frequently. A man of few words, his actions betray his concern. Georgie, frustrated but undeterred, shifts her approach focus. If the financial trail is cold, maybe there's another angle. Georgie goes back to the initial accident reports to look for details that were missed. She finds a name that was previously overlooked. Marcus Thorne, a ranch hand who worked occasionally at a neighboring ranch and was known to frequent the area where Tai got hurt. He disappeared around the same time. Georgie shares this with Scott. Cardinal. The trusted family veterinarian listens intently, his expression serious. Marcus Thorne, he repeats thoughtfully. I remember him vaguely. Didn't keep stable work long. Had a reputation for being unreliable, but he knew the back roads around here better than most. Why do you ask? Georgie explains the timeline and Thorne's disappearance. Scott rubs his chin. That is strange. There was no trace of him anywhere. Folks figured he just moved on, looking for work elsewhere. But the timing, you're right. It's worth looking into. Maybe that day he saw something. Back at Heartland, Amy makes a discovery that sends shivers down her spine. While sorting through old storage boxes in the loft, she finds a small, battered notebook tucked inside one of Tai's winter jackets. It's not his main journal, but a pocket-sized one she barely remembers. She flips past old notes, feed calculations, and reminders as she opens it, shaking her hands. Then, near the back, a hastily scribbled entry catches her eye. Met MT again today. Feels wrong. Watching me. If this goes wrong, It wasn't just chance. Amy's blood runs cold. MT. Marcus Thorne. Was Tai being watched? Was he afraid, even before the accident? Before she can fully absorb the implication, the lights flicker and die, plunging the house into darkness. No storm was forecasted. It's a deliberate power cut. Amy grabs the heavy flashlight again, her heart pounding. She moves to the window, peering into the inky blackness. Then she hears the sound of footsteps clattering, this time closer to the house. As she makes her way to the porch, Amy shines the light across the yard. In the distance, illuminated for just a second, is a figure standing near the fence line, not on horseback, tall, lean, disappearing back into the shadows the moment the light hits. This is no figment of her imagination. Someone is here, someone connected to Tai's last days, and they're trying to intimidate her. The puzzle pieces are shifting, forming a picture far more sinister than she ever imagined. But the truth remains shrouded. Amy clutches the small notebook, Tai's cryptic words echoing in her mind. Met MT again today. Feels wrong. Tss, me, if this goes bad, it wasn't random. Dr. Marcus Thorne. Tai knew, he suspected him. Was Thorne involved in what happened? The questions spiral, deepening the mystery. Someone wanted Tai gone, and they ensured the official story stuck. Now, Amy feels their unseen presence closing in. Jack, sensing the escalating tension, takes a firmer stance. He retrieves his old hunting rifle, cleaning it with deliberate care. He won't let Amy face this unknown threat unprotected. He begins making quiet inquiries among the older ranchers, asking about Marcus. Thorne, trying to piece together the man's movements around the time Tai disappeared. He encounters guarded responses, evasiveness. They remember Thorne, but seem reluctant to discuss his sudden departure. Meanwhile, Georgie focuses her efforts on tracking Marcus Thorne. Using online resources and reaching out to contacts from her brief time working with a private investigator, she discovers Thorne had a sister living in a nearby town. A fragile lead, but they're only one. Georgie drives there, determined to find answers. She arrives at a modest suburban house. A woman answers the door, wary, guarded. Georgie introduces herself, explaining she's looking for Marcus regarding an old event near Heartland. The woman's eyes narrow. I haven't seen Marcus in years. He left town suddenly. Didn't say where he was going. Georgie presses gently. Did he ever make any unusual remarks? Anything about the Heartland ranch or Tai Bordon? The woman hesitates, glancing back into her house as if afraid of being overheard. He mentioned getting tangled in some messy stuff, she admits finally. Something about seeing something he shouldn't have. He said powerful people were involved and he needed to disappear. Fast. He warned me not to ask questions. Georgie feels a jolt. Who were these individuals? The woman shakes her head. He never said that. Just that they could make problems vanish. Him included. He seemed terrified. Georgie thanks the woman, leaving with a chilling confirmation. Thorne saw something involving powerful figures and ran scared. Back at Heartland, Amy's search takes another unnerving twist. She decides to go back to the exact spot where Tai's note says he was in an accident. A remote stretch of road miles from the ranch. She drives out alone, needing to see it for herself. The place is quiet, desolate, marked only by a weathered wooden cross someone placed years ago. As she walks the gravel shoulder, scanning the area, hoping for something overlooked, she notices something glinting in the ditch. A small metal object is partially submerged in grass and dirt. She digs it out. It's a tarnished silver locket, intricately engraved. On one side, a rearing horse. On the other, the initials TB Tai Bordon. It's his. The locket that she gave him a long time ago. He always wore it. Why was it here? Thrown aside? Not with his recovered belongings? Fear mixes with fierce resolve. Someone staged this scene, took him, and discarded this precious item. Amy clutches the locket. Proof. Tangible proof that the official story was a lie. She turns to leave and freezes. A vehicle is parked, further down the road, partially hidden by trees. Observing her, she hadn't noticed it arrive. Her heart pounds. She quickly gets back in her truck, eyes locked on the rearview mirror as she drives away. The vehicle remains stationary, not following, but its presence is a clear message. She is being observed. Amy grips the steering wheel, the locket cold against her palm. Tai was taken. The words resonate with terrifying certainty. He didn't die in an accident. He was abducted. And the locket, found discarded miles away, proves the scene was manipulated. She has to find him. Georgie meets her back at the ranch, listening intently as Amy recounts finding the locket and being watched. Powerful people, Georgie repeats, recalling her conversation with Thorne's sister. Someone with resources. Someone who could orchestrate a disappearance, stage an accident scene, and intimidate witnesses. Jack and Tim listen grimly. Jack examines the locket, his expression hardening. We need to be careful, Amy. This confirms what we suspected, but it also means they know you're looking. Tim paces, his anger palpable. We find out who these powerful people are. The following day, another chilling message arrives. Not a letter this time, but an email sent to the main Heartland account from an untraceable proxy server. The subject line is blank. The body contains a single sentence. Some secrets are buried for a reason. Stop digging. Amy stares at the screen, cold dread washing over her. Escalation. A direct threat. Someone is monitoring them, knows they are getting closer, but fear is overshadowed by determination. Georgie, recalling Thorne's sister mentioning he felt tangled, suggests they look into any major development projects or controversial land deals happening around 4 years ago. Perhaps Tai stumbled onto something related to that. Using town archives and online searches, they uncover records of a proposed high-stakes land development project fiercely opposed by local conservation groups, including one Tai had informally advised. The project involved powerful investors, known for ruthless tactics, and was abruptly shelved shortly after Tai's disappearance. Was Tai targeted because he knew something that could derail their plans? Amy and Georgie focus on the defunct development project. Its records lead them to an abandoned survey office on the outskirts, connected to the initial land assessments. It's a long shot, but perhaps some records were left behind. The building is dilapidated, forgotten. In the dim light, dust motes dance inside. Old maps and survey equipment lie scattered. In a rusted filing cabinet, Amy finds a folder labeled with a project code. Inside, amidst faded blueprints and soil reports, is a log sheet detailing site visits. One entry stands out, dated just 2 days before Tai's accident. It lists attendees for a restricted site inspection. Tai Bordon's name is on the list, alongside executives from the development company. Another name, Daniel Reeves, listed not as a paramedic, but as a security consultant. Amy's breath hitches. Reeves was there, involved in these relationships prior to the accident, and Tai was meeting with them. The file confirms Tai was entangled with this project and its dangerous proponents. Suddenly, a floorboard creaks upstairs. They aren't alone. Georgie signals toward the back exit. Now! They hurry out, melting into the dusk. Amy glances back, seeing a light flick on in an upper window. Someone was inside, waiting, or searching, just like them. Amy holds the log sheet, her hand shaking. Transferred subject under special care, Daniel Reeves, security consultant. The pieces click into place. Reeves wasn't just a paramedic or a witness. He was part of the operation, involved in Tai's removal. He worked for the people behind the land deal, the ones Tai met with just before he vanished. But where did they take him? With her eyes narrowed, Georgie examines the sheet once more. There's no facility name, no place to go, just special care. A dead end, unless they missed something. Amy recalls Scott mentioning Reeves worked in remote medical, transport, specializing in high-risk extractions. What if special care isn't a hospital, but a code name for a private holding facility? Somewhere off the grid? Then a noise from outside, a car door slamming nearby. They aren't safe here, Georgie urges. Let's go. We need to talk to Scott again. They slip away unseen. But the close call reinforces the danger. Back. At Heartland, they present the log sheet to Jack, Tim, and Scott. Jack studies the names, his jaw tight. So Tai walked into a meeting with these developers and their security man, Reeves, and then disappeared 2 days later. Tim taps the table with his fist. They took him because he knew too much about their crooked deal. Scott looks at the log sheet, his expression grave. Reeves working security for them. That explains a lot. These weren't just developers. They played rough. If Tai had evidence against them, Amy looks at Scott. Can you find out where someone like Reeves would take a high-risk extraction? What does special care mean in that world? Scott nods slowly. It usually means a secure private facility, sometimes overseas, sometimes hidden domestically, often used for witness protection or less savory reasons. He stops. I have an old contact, someone who used to work in that field. Might be risky, but he owes me. Scott pulls out his phone, dials a number, pacing as it rings. Finally, a gruff voice answers. Scott, it's been a while. Scott gets straight to the point. I need information, off the record. Transfer of patients approximately 4 years ago. Handled discreetly, possibly involving Daniel Reeves, destination listed as special care. Remember anything like that? A long pause on the other end. Special care. That's not a place, Scott. It's a program. Highly classified. Extremely dangerous. You shouldn't be asking about it. Amy's stomach plummets. Another warning, another layer of secrecy, but Scott persists. This is important. He pauses for a moment and then sighs. There were whispers about a facility used for that program, up north, remote, outpost of research that has been closed, called Argentus. That's probably where he went if Reeves was involved, Argentus. The name hangs in the air, filled with menace. But now they have a potential location, a focus, the closest they've been. Amy meets Georgie's determined gaze. She knows Tai is alive, and now she knows where he might be.